Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, we cut through the hype and the noise, and we give you the non-biased information you can use to capitalize on the next bull run. When I do my coaching, one of the top things that I try to get people to learn and understand is how to compare one project to another, because there's endless amounts of opportunity in crypto, as you know. Well, after doing an extensive amount of research, I have came to the conclusion of what projects I want to stack or have already stacked for my portfolio. Well, when I want to add another project, well, pretty much for me, I compare everything to HBAR. Now, I'm looking for the best risk reward. Yes, there's going to be a lot of projects outperform HBAR. It is not going to lead the next bull run, and I don't expect that to happen, and I don't stack my HBAR bags expecting that. However, in my opinion, when it comes to straight risk, you start with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, to me, from analyzing hundreds if not thousands of other projects, that number 3 spot you could argue is for HBAR when it comes to the risk. Now, my other project that I think is fighting it out is Quant. However, due to where they set price-wise right now, I believe that HBAR has a better risk reward than Quant. So for me, as it sets right now, when I look to add another token, I compare it to HBAR, and it needs to give me a better risk reward. Now, if it's not going to give me a better risk, which it's probably not, it needs to give me a better upside. And I truly believe that if you stack HBAR under 5 cents, which is where it is right now, that's the closest thing to a guaranteed 10x, because I believe it will take out its old high, and that's the closest thing to a 10x is you're going to get a 10x guarantee. Now, that being said, it's not financial advice. However, ICP is getting a lot of attention. So I'm going to compare ICP to the risk reward of HBAR. And guys, no matter whether you agree with me or not, if you follow along and just understand the way I think, it will help you pick your next favorite altcoin. Because no matter what, guys, I know this to be true. You need a game plan. That's why I do coaching. And you need to have systems in place, and you need to have a way to compare one project to the other and see if you want to add that to your portfolio. Because if you don't, you're just going to end up with a lot of different tokens that you don't need, and when you sit back and look at them, probability wise, half of them are going to probably do the same amount of X, whether it's 10x, 20x, or whatever. And so why do you want to have all of that to keep up with different wallets? And honestly, at some point, over diversification becomes a liability, and it makes your portfolio more risky, in my opinion. That being said, guys, we're going to dive into this. I'll tell you my thoughts, but both of these are really exceptional projects, at least outsider looking in, and time will tell. But we're going to compare these, and I'm going to go through HBAR first and tell you why I think it is the one that gives me that probability for 10x and why I compare it to everything. And then we'll dive into ICP, because it's getting a lot of attention, and I know a lot of people are thinking about stacking ICP. All right, guys, hit that like button. Let's get into it. Now, if you've never been to Hedera's website, guys, you need to go there. And it's hedera.com. Surf around, learn about all the projects that they have in their ecosystem. Look at their governing board, look at their team, their founder. Guys, It's amazing what they have coming down the pipe for that ecosystem. Just like it says on the screen, the Stablecoin Studio, guys, it is off the charts. Whether it's an enterprise or a government or whoever, they can create a stablecoin basically instantly. It has so many use cases, it blows me away. Their governing council is some of the most powerful corporations in the world. It has money behind it. Now, I could go on and on and on, but do your own research, guys, and I think you'll agree with me that the Hedera Hashgraph is some of the best tech out there. Technically, it's not a blockchain, but it's proven itself. It's already done 20 billion transactions. It's proven it can scale. Now, that being said, the only downside, in my opinion, whatsoever with Hedera is its tokenomics. And at first that bothered me a lot. But here's one of the biggest difference in Hedera's tokenomics and why I'm okay with it than most other projects. Most other projects, when they increase their supply, somebody's just getting more rich. Well, when Hedera increases their supply, has token unlocks, which we know when they're coming, the bulk of that money goes to developers, paying developers to keep the ecosystem moving and to create new projects. It doesn't get better than that. The founders and the early adopters are not just, taking that money and putting it on their bottom line. And that is a lot different than a lot of other projects. I won't mention any names. Now, so if you look at the chart, guys, on HBAR, it's a thing of beauty in my opinion. It has been to 52 cents. Right now it's under 5 cents. And that's mainly because of the supply increase. It hasn't been able to maintain a pump. But this is the way I think. If you follow along and looked at all the positive things that HBAR has coming down the pipe and all the things they've been doing with the new developers and the new projects, and the governing council are coming up with new applications for HBAR that will be unveiled over time, hopefully right during the beginning of the bull market. If you follow along with all that, I personally believe that what you would see will equate to a huge pump in the bull run, because all this hard work and the new developers, the growth of the ecosystem, and all the money and time put behind, and all the new adoption, like with the FedNow indirect partnerships, and I could go on and on. All of that is going to meet the price, and when those catch up, when that price catch up with all that hard work, this thing's going to balloon. Some people would tell you it could go as high as $2.50. For me, I'm just looking to capture this 10x, and I'll be moving on. I may hold a little bit after that, but once it starts to take out its old high, me personally, I'm out. Now, that being said, if that's my opportunity to stack more HBAR, and the closest thing to a guaranteed 10x in my opinion, should I stack ICP? Well, let's get into it. Guys, I'm not going to get into the full journey of ICP. When ICP launched, it was hot. And a lot of people will tell you that the FTX scandal was behind it, and that they kind of rug pulled and they pumped it and then dumped it because it was a threat to Solana. I'm not going to get into all that, but realistically, guys, this thing came out hot, and it was a straight rug pull. However, that was the founder and the few guys at the top at that time. They left. There were lawsuits. All kinds of things happened. Long story short, a lot of really good people that are solid stuck around, worked for free, and fought to save Internet Computer because they believed in the tech. So that being said, guys, they changed the tokenomics, and the tokenomics are pretty good. I can't get exactly the information I need, but as it sits right now, it's almost fully diluted, and there's no big token unlocks. Now, a lot of people think that because of the early adopters and the early investors and some of the founders, they still have a lot of ICP, and they do, at really low prices, and they could dump at any time. But guys, it is what it is. But I'm gonna not look at it as that negative as far as tokenomics. I don't think anyone that has held their ICP through all this pain are looking to dump it at any low price. They could have already dumped at like $7 this year, and they didn't do it for the most part. Now, as far as the tech, guys, and you need to go to their website and surf around. I'm not a developer, but their tech is off the chain. So is HBAR's, and it's a little different. But guys, I mean, the applications that you can do with Internet Computer, it's absolutely amazing. Now, I'm just going to give you a few things that I believe just really stand out, because they're basically saying that you can run everything for Web3, the future of blockchain and crypto, everything on Internet Computer. It's fast, it's scalable, it's everything. And they are proving that to be true as it sits right now. Now, while I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to give you one downside. This tech hasn't been proven to be scalable and to be trustworthy. It hasn't been attacked, and we don't know what that would look like. And I think that's going to hold back the adoption for at least a little while. But that doesn't mean this tech's not going to hold up. It just means it hasn't proved itself compared to a lot of other blockchains, including HBAR. It's at 20 billion transactions. It can scale, and it can do what it claims, or it has so far. All right, that being said, Internet Computers has brought smart contracts to Bitcoin. That is extremely impressive. I don't know what that's going to look like in the future, but guys, I'm telling you, the Bitcoin maxis may not have been lying when they said that Bitcoin is all you need, because there's going to be layer 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, maybe layer 10s in the future. And when you have projects like Internet Computer that can scale Bitcoin as a layer 2 and bring smart contracts and DeFi into Bitcoin, guys, it's impressive. Now, I'm doing this by memory. I'm not sure if they're bringing DeFi or that's another project into Bitcoin. But I do know they're bringing smart contracts, and they can scale Bitcoin. They're also launching to become a layer 2 on Ethereum, or for Ethereum. Guys, I don't understand how all that works, but I do know from talking to some developers, this is impressive tech. They can basically take pressure off both Bitcoin and Ethereum and help them scale and keep them from being volatile, and hopefully, for instance, with Ethereum, keep those gas fees down. Anyway, that's very impressive to me, and I don't know any other projects for the most part that can do it. There are a few more, and I can't think of which ones they are. I know Celo's looking to do the same thing for Ethereum. Now, I just uncovered this. Basically, Internet Computer is going to start competing with like Arweave and Google Cloud and AWS. Guys, it's amazing, this tech. Now, there is a video on their Twitter account, their X account. I highly recommend go watch it. I'm not going to play it, but guys, just scroll down and you'll see this video. I highly recommend you watch it. Now, if you look at the followers, there's 681,000, but that was started back in 2016. So I'm pretty sure it's not the same group. I don't know what number there is, but I'm pretty sure it's not that many people following, because a lot of people got wrecked and rug pulled, and this is still the original account for whatever that's worth. But they do have a good community. Even if you cut that in half, that would be a lot of followers, and it showed you the demand and how hot this project was when it first launched. Now, that being said, I talked to Claude about ICP, and that's the AI that I use, and it has changed the game for my knowledge level, and I absolutely love it. And Claude talked about that, you know, they had a big token burn, and there's no more unlocks coming. That being said, I went to Masari and I looked, and I don't know where these unlocks are coming from, or if you want to call them, but I want to show you something because this matters. This is the supply for the last year. That is a big, massive increase. That's from 302 million to 446 million. Now, there's a reason I'm pointing that out. Now, the good news is when you look at the circulating supply, it's 447 million, and the total supply is 508 million. Now, I couldn't get the maximum supply. I believe it's about the same as 508 million. But so the good point is it's pretty much fully diluted. So there's not going to be another big unlock. However, like I said before, the early investors could decide to take some profits and put a lot of sales pressure on it. Now, the reason I bring that up, the supply has changed so much, this number is irrelevant. Think about it, guys. It launched and went to $317. So that's not even remotely on the board of happening. So we really don't have an upside. That's what I don't like. Now, that being said, I'm going to tell you all the positives, what I think, and then I'm going to tell you where I sit as far as am I going to stack it. It has phenomenal tech. It has a lot of positive things going, and it's got a good social media buzz, and I have no doubt influencers are going to start picking up and talking about this because it does have a lot of great tech. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a couple of influencers pushing this thing hard like it is the holy grail because of how great the tech is. It's bigger, it's faster, it's better. It can do anything and everything. It's going to take over the world. Well, here's what I know to be true, guys, and this is just my truth of over 30 years of being an investor. And I used to work for Bear Stearns, and I've seen behind the scenes. And here's what I know to be true. The central banks, Wall Street, and the governments, primarily the U.S. government, pick the winners and losers. So it really doesn't matter how great the tech is or how much me and you like any project. Doesn't matter if it's faster, cheaper. It doesn't matter if it doesn't get the adoption from those three entities, or at least one of them in a big way. Now, I'll give you an example. The electric car came out like in 1960s. Someone bought the patent and put it on the shelf because they didn't want it. Well, guys, if Wall Street, for instance, doesn't get behind this and the developers don't start building on it and it doesn't get mainstream adoption from them, it's never going to make it. It's never going to pump. It's not going to make life-changing gains if that doesn't happen. So for me, when I look at this ecosystem, especially when I compare it to HBAR, it's not even on the same planet. because whether you think it has better tech or worse tech than HBAR, which that's a large order, but even if you believed it did, well, they got partnerships with IBM and Google, and some of the biggest corporations in the world are building on Hedera. Not one that I know of is building on ICP. See the difference? So guys, no matter how much you like this tech or any project, and you really need to do a deep dive on that, guys, because I'm telling you, a lot of people think that there's a lot of mega projects out there that, oh, this is bigger and faster than Ethereum, it's 10 times better, it solved the trilemma, whatever. Hey, even if it's true, doesn't mean they are going to be the chosen one. Look, we know that Ethereum, for instance, has been chosen. The Ethereum Enterprise Alliance is created by JP Morgan and Google and Microsoft. All those powerhouses got together and said, hey, let's push this on to our customers. Let's use this as the standard. And that's what they've done. So it's going to be hard to ever have an Ethereum killer, at least for the next 10 years, in my opinion. That being said, guys, that's another thing when it comes to adoption. And I'm not just talking about ICP right now. Any layer 1 or any project out there, hear me out. The majority of banks or institutions, they have consultants like JP Morgan. JP Morgan's way more than just a bank. It's a bank among banks, but it's also like a consulting firm with IBM and Accenture and all these huge corporations out there. Well, they take their technology and their knowledge from working with all these other powerhouses, and they push them in a certain direction. So you got to remember that when a bank, for instance, wants to get into blockchain, the odds are they sit down with a JP Morgan consulting team, an IBM consulting team, right? They didn't just call up your favorite ISO20022 Compliant foundation and said, hey, what do y'all have? They'll never know. And quite frankly, they're not going to do the homework to figure out which one's the best. And that leads back to HBAR. Guys, you got to remember, whether you're a bank or a CEO of a huge corporation, this technology is risky. They're not really looking to put their job on the line to get better results for their company if they're going to lose their job. So my point about that is, let's say a bank. If a bank gets recommended and using the technology that JP Morgan brought to them, he probably wouldn't get fired, right? Same with the governing board. If I worked for a major corporation, I said, hey, we've got to get into blockchain. We got to have a supply chain tracking system with this new technology. I think we should use Hedera HBAR. And they said, well, why would we do that? Why do you think that's the best? Well, you could lay it out. Well, Boeing built on them. IBM is working with them, Accenture, and you can name the governing board. That's a lot more legit. And guys, again, not here to put FUD or shield either one of these projects, but ICP doesn't have it. So I'm not convinced that it will have the adoption that it takes to send this thing to the moon. Now, that being said, I do believe that enough influencers are going to get behind it, because not everyone thinks like I do. And whether I'm right or wrong, which when it comes to those three entities that I talked about, picking winners and losers, I feel confident that that's a true statement. But not everyone believes that. So this thing could pump and get a lot of attention because it has unlimited narratives that could go with it in the next bull run. So that being said, I'm probably going to stack some ICP for sure during this next couple of months between now and the bull run. Now, I don't know if I'm going to stack it and hold it throughout the bull run, because I have limited money. I've stacked a lot of projects. I have a lot of other projects that I feel more confident than this one that I'd rather deploy that money. But as a swing trade, it's already showed that it could pump at least a little. It's already been over $7 this year. So it could easily do a 1, 2, 3x at the start of the bull run in a blink of an eye, in my opinion. Now, one other thing, and then I'll get back to my thoughts on that swing trade, but I want to say something why I'm thinking about it. Now, we are in a recession, and this gets back to the risk reward. For me to want to stack, say, ICP or any project over HBAR, I would have to feel confident that no matter what happens in the next 6 months or year, so what happens if we wake up and the stock market's down 40%? China invades Taiwan, something crazy, another C-19 issue come up. Well, a lot of projects might not make it, right? Bitcoin could collapse and go back down and make a new low to say 15,000, 12,000. What do you think would happen to these altcoins? Well, I'd be stacking HBAR like a fiend. I really would, because I have no doubt it's going to make it. But that leads me to one negative comment that I've heard over and over about ICP. And they call it like the drain effect. ICP needs to run, I believe, around $1 to pay all the node operators and to make that system work. Well, it's at $3. Now that's a big gap. But if we went into a hard recession, or we have another black swan event, the stock market crashes, whatever, and ICP got below $1, man, it could be like pulling the plug and it could collapse the entire project. I'm not saying that, but that is a risk, and you don't have that type of risk, in my opinion, with HBAR. So therefore, I have no interest in stacking it when I can stack more HBAR under 5 cents right now with a lot less risk. But as a swing trade, like I was alluding to, as we get toward the bull run and all that risk starts to get out of play, if it's still down, I'm probably going to look to do a swing trade. Stack a good bag, hold it for a week, a month, 3 months, till some good news comes out, take those profits and move on. I think it's a great project for that. That being said, guys, that's pretty much all I have for you. And look, if you have an interest in coaching, it's $250. We'll have 3 to 5 conversations. We'll go through your portfolio and we'll get you a game plan to take profits. We'll get you a game plan to add or subtract to your portfolio, and we'll get systems in place and get your thought process right where you won't FOMO in, you won't worry about the FUD, and you'll have a game plan to capitalize on the next bull run. If you have an interest in that, I'll leave my email pinned in the comment section and a link down below. Send me a message and I'll give you some more information. That being said, guys, I'd really like to know what you think about comparing everything to HBAR and what you think about this comparison. Because, guys, they're both great projects. But again, the Wall Street, the legacy banks, and primarily the U.S. governments pick winners and losers. So I need to see some big boy names get behind ICP. Like, you think about it, every day you hear a name going into, say, Ethereum or HBAR's community, whether it's IBM, Starbucks, you name it, those big names building inside their ecosystem. Now, if I do start to see that for ICP, I definitely might change my thought process about stacking a longer term bag. One more thing, guys. You can hold all these projects as long as you want, but in my opinion, outside of Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, I personally only invest bull run to bull run. The risk is immense. And why would you possibly want to turn, say, $10,000 into $100,000, $150,000, $250,000, whatever, and then ride it all the way back down to say $12,000 or $15,000 and wait another 3, 4, 5 years and hope those projects didn't die. Hope that there's not newer technology. Crypto is not stocks, guys, and you shouldn't have to wait 5 or 10 years for it to make life-changing gains for you, or at least big gains. Bull run to bull run. So, in my opinion, guys, learn to take profits. That's part of my coaching system as well. But if you don't take the profits in the next bull run, guys, you'll become the profits. I say that with love. All right, that's all I got. Share this with like-minded people. Hit that like button, and no matter what, guys, come back and be part of this community. And tell me what you think in the comment section about these projects. And if you have another project that you think has a better risk reward than HBAR, let me know and I'll do the same type video. Take care, guys.